Hello everyone, how are you doing? Great. So, okay, let's wait for the slide to be presented. So, my session will be mostly focusing on the Angular latest feature, which is Directive Composition API. So, can you please raise your hand if you heard about this feature? Okay, good. So for those who know like what it is, they may not know what are the real world scenarios that where they should be applying. And for those who don't know, this session will be really helpful. Okay, so let's begin from the basics. The Directive Composition API, see, it's all around directive, how the directives are going to be used and composed together. So if you go back a little bit, what is directive? So what is directive? So directive is a subset of component that does not contain HTML and CSS. Okay, and it consists of mainly a behavior, a code block that contains a behavior, and you can apply it on the host element. Okay, so I will pause here a little bit and I will try to clear one important concept, which is host. We will emphasize more on the host part of this sentence. So take an example of this HTML. So what is my element? My element is a component. And what is REST? Drag, highlight, test ID. Those are directives, right? So what we are basically doing is we are applying this directive on a component. So who is host component? So host is my element component. Okay, so this is what the host is. So let's move a little bit ahead. And yeah, this is pizza. So think about pizza. Imagine pizza without toppings. Okay, so let's try to relate pizza with directive concept. So if you think about toppings, they are kind of directives or kind of, you can think about this in programming world as a functionality, small piece of functionality. So you just sprinkle them on pizza and it becomes, mainly looking wise good, and we also add taste on that. So same way we have a page which is a pizza base and we add features on top of it, right? So that's the pizza concept I tried to relate. Let's get back to the topic. So throughout the session we will have two directives. Very simple directive. One is blink directive, as name suggests, blink behavior, flashing behavior. Let's go over a code about it a little bit. First is I try to apply an animation on the element, whichever we are going to see on the page. It has multiple themes, but the default theme is red, and it also has an output event, and it also, when you click on it, it sends an event to the host element. Okay. So one more directive we have, which is bold directive. Very simple. What's there inside bold directive? It makes that text bold wherever this directive is applied. Fine. Now how to use this directive in simple world? Very simple technique, apply them in line. Suppose I have an app ribbon component, I will have to explicitly specify them, right? Like app bold and app blink. And the other way to do this is create mix-in base approach. Okay. So in mix-in base approach, what basically you will be doing is you will be creating mix-ins. Like first mix-in will be mix-in bold. A function will be, I wrote a pseudocode here, it's not a complete code. Just think about a code which is having function inside function. So they are inheriting each other. Okay. So kind of I created inheritance here. So let's not go into the depth of it, what exactly it is. So let's look at this example, how this will look like on page. So I have one Angular application running inside Chrome. Let me bump up a font little bit. So this is a component, and the ribbon directive that we just mentioned, this is the ribbon directive. Kind of cell text is appearing on the left top corner or right top corner. Okay. Now we are going to look at how to apply this directive in better way or reusable way, or compose something out of it and use them as on you go on. Okay. So one more thing which I would like to mention here. what's the good thing about the approach that we followed here? We applied two directives on the same element and that worked, right? But what about if you want to use the ribbon directive once again somewhere else? You had to reapply those directives once again, right? You need to remember the other place you will be applying. So you had to apply those two directives. So how to go over there? So before that, I will little bit mention about myself. So currently, I am working in senior technology consultant at Virtusa. Also, I was MVP since 2022. I am Angular Active GD. Also, I have good contribution on Stack Overflow. Also, I wrote an Angular course on Scalar, which is article based, text based, and also I do run sometimes. So this February I completed almost 100 km. So yeah, so let's come back to the topic. Thank you. So let's come back to the topic. What is directive? What is directive composition API? So it's a simplified way of composing the directive. Okay. Let's keep this, fancy terminology side. We will come to that, what exactly it is. Mainly what going to happen, how we write component. A component decorator has multiple property. So one extra property got introduced, which name is host directives, and that will be an array again. Fine. For example, I applied here host directive as a my directive. So what happened here? So this is as equivalent as applying my directive on the my component. The first example. Okay, fine. Now let's come back to those two examples that we seen earlier. Okay, how to apply those two directives, app bold and app bling, to the ribbon directive. So see, the ribbon directive is simple one. Extra property that we added is host directives, and inside that we just mentioned the class name of those directives, and that's it. You got the behavior. Okay, so let's try to do that. I will just add these two lines. And let's see what happens. Do you see that? Automatically it starts blinking. And let's try to inspect it, what exactly happening there. Okay, let me zoom this a little bit. Is it visible at the back? Okay, fine. So if you look at this particular component is simple, app simple card, but we will focus more on app ribbon component now. Okay, if you look at app ribbon component, you will see there are so many attributes that have been mentioned, like ng host, there is one theme, there is one style. You can see that it has style attributes, which has multiple attribute, which is acting as an animation. So mainly, if you look at our app Blink directive code, it basically introducing inline style. So that got added there. And same thing for same thing for the other stuff, font weight, which is bolder, that style got added there. Fine. So let's come back to the slide and let's try to make it a little more complicated. Generally the directives are not that simple, right? You have to pass some parameters to it, right? It's not like you just add it inside an array. So how to handle such kind of scenario? Okay, so if you remember the app Blink directive that we have seen, it has two behaviors. The blink behavior, and when you click on the element, it emits output event, which is element clicked. Okay, so let's try to implement that with the host directives. So mainly what will happen is, earlier we used to provide just the class name of directive. Now we will use the different form of object if in case we have inputs and outputs to be passed. Fine. So first parameter property will be directive, then the directive name. Then inside inputs property you have to pass strings array. Okay, strings array, what exactly it will be? So strings array is your input property name of your original component and how you want to alias it. Okay, so why aliasing could matter, we will look into that later. And same for the outputs thing. Your original element click event, if we go back and if we check blink directive, earlier we said the current one we said element click event, which is output, okay, and the first one was theme. Theme is this one, right, the input one. We alias both and we try to use them. So how we would use that? So now when it comes to uses, on app ribbon component we will be saying what? Banner theme, and passing what theme we want to see, black theme maybe. Initially it was red. And same thing for banner click, which was element click name of the output event. We change it to the banner click and we call it. So if you try to implement this and try to see it in action, if I click on this particular element, you can see it is printing something inside a console from the code, right? From here. Fine? Okay. So that is how you will deal with the inputs and output props. Okay. Moving on to the next thing. Like this was very simple example, right? Add some style or CSS into onto the element, right? But what are the real use cases for implementing this behavior? Many of us not sure right now. So one of the major thing that can be implemented, it is, you know, CDK, Angular CDK. What is Angular CDK? Angular CDK has some base components like menu, then table, then select menu, and there are so many things. They provide a bare bone of component, and you can create your own UI library on top of it, right? So for such kind of scenario, it really shines. Suppose you are creating your own custom menu component. So you first create my menu component, and look at that host directive line number 5. We added CDK menu. So this component will act as a CDK menu. So internally, CDK menu will be added on top of that element. Same thing for menu item. Okay. So menu item will, use CDK menu item. And now let's come back to the point how the menu looks like. Do you know the HTML select element? Right? What it has? It has select tag, right? And inside options tag. So same way we try to mimic the behavior. I have the main kind of wrapper component select, which is my menu, and then each item, each option, my menu item. And I try to use some content inside it, right? It can be anything. So that's why we use ng content projection. Whatever content has been passed inside, that will be shown up. Okay, that's the menu thing. So menu generally what happens? When you click on something, menu opens up, right? So there is one more directive from CDK called as CDK menu trigger for, and it requires a template ref. So we pass a template ref called as menu, and we defined one using ng template. So basically what happens is, when you have a button click me, once you click on it, it shows the menu. Okay. Quickly look at the demo, how it may look like. So this is a button. This is a click me component I click for, and I am just now doing keyboard up and down. Okay, I am selecting some option, the second one. See, it exactly behaves like a menu or select component. Okay, so you don't have to much play around with write so much code to achieve this kind of behavior. You can you can basically inherit those kind of directive directly and achieve that behavior easily. What are the other example? That was CDK thing, right? If you are not building UI libraries, where should you use this kind of feature? So the other example is testing ID. So what is testing ID directive? I will first show the example and I will explain the behavior of it, where exactly it is used. So this is a simple component, simple card component. Let me inspect this. And what I did is I added one testing ID directive as a host directive on this particular component. Okay, let me do that. VS Code. So what exactly it should do is, it should add a testing ID attribute with some testing ID app testing. So let me explain a little bit history behind this behavior. So do you know E2E test case, end-to-end test cases? What we try to do is we try to mimic user behavior, user flows with such kind of testing framework. And when they come onto the DOM, they need some identifier to see it. And you know what happen each time? We go to, the QA guys go to developer and say, hey, please add ID into this component. And we can really automate this kind of behavior just by adding host directive. So if you look at this example, did you see what we tried to do here? We just made one attribute called as test ID. And we had added test ID hyphen the selector name. So mainly what exactly has been done inside a code, we just added this host directive, and this is somehow accessing the selector tag and putting it as an attribute like from the ng on in it, okay, using the renderer. What are the other things like analytics? Okay, what is analytics? So marketing team needs some kind of statistics based on where user exactly goes, what they click. So you can create an analytics directive that keep track of your component clicks and what exactly click, what users scroll for and all those things. And from that directive you make a call to analytics, send events, right? Then what else? Theming. Theming can be directly put inside inside your host directives. Maybe highlight kind of logic, keyboard navigation, as I said, if there are elements to navigate, you can create a keyboard navigation directive and put it as a host directives. Card menu with tooltip, attach drag and drop behavior, and there are so many use cases now maybe you can think of. Like, you know, I gave some little bit path, how you should be thinking about the example, and I'm sure that you will try to explore more on that path, and we'll try to see how where else you can implement inside your project. So let's come back to the part where what are the advantages of this particular host directive feature. So for one thing which is for sure, it is cleaner approach for composing directives. You create one combination of behavior and apply it directly. Okay. Static typing works. You know the earlier approach of mixing that has been used by Angular material a lot. If you look at Angular material code, you will find that it has some tweaks, like static typing does not work sometimes. They had applied some hacky ways to do it. And if you are doing same kind of mixing on your end, you also had to follow same approach. So over here, typings work automatically. For example, let me show you one example to prove that. Let's go to Blink directive. Okay, and not Blink one, but Ribbon directive. Where is it? Ribbon component. Let me change something here. See, I just changed the input property name to A, and now it started complaining. If you look at it, it says there is no theme A property which is public. So even though it is string, it's statically typed. It verifies what's there inside your class. Okay, so that's good thing. Next thing is host directives share same DI context. If inside a directive, if you try to ask for some dependency that's available inside component, it will be the same instance. Same for hide. So basically, one more thing which is very good about host directives. Suppose there are 5 outputs that have been generated from your directive, and you just want to expose one output event, then you just mention one here. The other one cannot be used. those will be hidden from the consumer of your app ribbon component. Okay, you got it? So that is one of the thing where you get a pure control over what to expose and what not. So that's what the input and outputs configurability. Let's come back to the what are the limitations with this approach. So over here, when you provide host directives in an array, the execution order really matters. So basically what happens is, when you define directives from top to bottom, the lifecycle hook sequence will be followed in the same order. The directive creation, then the next directive creation, and the component. So basically it goes this way. Whatever you write inside host directive, the first written directive will be kick in, and then that sequence will be follow, and later the component will be, component lifecycle hooks will be triggered. The next thing, which is limitation, too many host directive may create performance problem. Okay, so this is most important thing you should be focusing on. So there is a catch in this line. So when I say performance problem, suppose you got one functionality where you had to create 5 directives, and those 5 directives can be used inside host directives. Okay. Now that component, if that component is used on a page once or 2 times, that's okay. If you are repeating that component 100 or 1000 times, it may use a more memory, and you will see that your heap is growing if you open the developer console heap memory tab. So what's the reason behind that? So basically what happens now, when you use host directive and the component is instantiated, along with component instantiation, it also create instance for each directive which is hosted inside host directive. Okay, so of course you create object, it takes memory. So it is okay to use if your component is just used 1 or 2 times, but if you are repeating your component multiple times, then you may have to check and think twice, like should I go for it or not. And last few things, like this directive, host directive API, suppose you have one directive, bold directive. Suppose this bold directive is a part of 2 component which hosted bold directive, only one will be triggered or instantiated, not both. Okay. The last thing is, no generic type can be passed to the directive for now. For now, types are like what have been mentioned. So maybe there is some work going on this. So maybe we may get some update. And last thing is, component cannot be used as a host directive because components are not hosted, like only directives can be hosted on the component. So yeah, and one more thing, like a host directive should be, the directive those are going to be hosted should be standalone, otherwise they won't be used. Okay, so that was all about my talk, and I hope you got very bare minimum, like what are the style directive, how to combine them, and what are the thoughts you should go with thinking and apply this host directives inside your project. And yeah, thank you. So I hope this helped, and yeah, if you are around, say hi, we can meet and chat.